and welcome to Extra Life, the podcast for people who like podcasts about video games. I'm still working on it. It's not quite there yet, is it? We'll get there. I'm Ellie Gibson.
I'm Keza Macdonald.
And who have we got for our guest today? It's Bec Hill.
Yeah, it's me, Bec Hill, guys. Hi.
Hi, Bec Hill. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really, really good. Seeing as it's a podcast about video games, what a great time to allow yourself an excuse to play video games.
What a great time for that one specific thing only.
Yeah.
We're going around like, mental health. It's mental every time someone says, oh, you're still playing that. Mental health. That's what it's for. It's my mental health.
For the listener, Bec Hill, why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you, Bec Hill?
I am a comedian. I write in a lot of animated kids shows. So School of Roars is one of them. If you've got any tiny ones on CBeebies, doing a new Cartoon Network one, which will hopefully come out early next year. And I'm about to host a new arts and crafts show on CITV.
Yay, the new Art Attack.
Yay!
Yes.
It's called Makeaway Takeaway, which combines my two favourite things, which is craft and food.
I'd like to extend personal thanks on behalf of everybody else with small children for essentially being our kids' teachers for the last 12 weeks while we've all been stuck at home.
I mean, thanks for lending them to me.
Thank you, children's TV writers and producers, for rescuing us all.
The great thing about children audiences is that as you get older, they stay the same age. That's how the saying goes, isn't it? Something like that.
So, Bec, have you had a particular lockdown game that's got you through the last few months?
I'm obsessed with Beat Saber on the Quest, on the Oculus Quest, which has been so nice to feel like I'm not in a one-bedroom flat.
So Beat Saber, it's like
half an hour.
It's musical lightsabers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why
it's
didn't
like
they call it that? That's a much better name.
Meets the Guitar Hero.
I got the power, I got unlimited power. I got the power, I got unlimited power. Running the game, we are not playing the same. I was just going insane. From red to blue, from blue to red, and thinking from red from overhead. We're playing.
Yeah, so you have the VR headset on. Are you playing it on an Oculus?
Yeah.
So you have like an Oculus Quest on your head, Ellie.
Right.
And you have these two controllers in your hands, and in your eyes, in your brain, it looks like you're wielding two amazing lightsabers and you have to smash the beats as they come towards you in this psychedelic way.
Oh my God.
It's very cool. You get to jump around.
I love it because you feel like a wizard. Like, you feel absolutely amazing. Like, when I'm playing, I'm like, I look so cool right now. Like, I keep thinking about filming it because I'm like, I definitely look awesome, and everyone would agree with that. But I just know if I were to film it and watch it back,
you'd look like that Star Wars kid in the viral video from the early internet.
Have you ever filmed yourself having it off?
Is this kind
no,
of
but
podcast?
I imagine that's very similar.
I wouldn't know. I've definitely never done it either.
No
but
chance.
I'd imagine it's a similar experience. It's more embarrassing than you think.
No, because I've never thought to myself during doing that I look amazing. Not once. I've felt nothing but shame and apologetic.
Oh my God!
Self-esteem up back.
You need some therapy. Great shame.
Do you know, they did, so they have like a world championships of Beat Saber, and that's obviously for that they do film the people actually doing it. And it's like lots of tiny Korean women sort of making very small wrist movements and kind of moving a little bit. When I'm playing it, I'm like vroom, vroom, jumping around looking like a complete arsehole.
Yeah, I use my whole arms, which is also why I've broken things.
Not your arms, hopefully.
No, just external things.
What have you broken?
Well, when I first got the Quest, like the first day that I was playing it, I put the headset on and I was having throwback moments to... Do you remember when the classic Wii came out and everyone was smashing their TV sets because they weren't strapping the controller?
Oh yeah,
because
they were
a
wrist strap.
They were, what's the word? Morons. Yeah, I remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got to have the little. You had to have the little plastic condom for the remote as well, just in case if it did hit anything.
Yeah,
yeah. You got to be safe.
It wouldn't give it gonorrhea. That was the idea.
Yeah. I did the exact same thing with the controller. I thought, I don't need this wrist strap, and immediately flung it out of my hand, and it hit. I had a framed piece of artwork, which is a parody of an Alex Ross cover for any massive nerds listening, where it's Superman versus the Flash. They're about to start a race. It's a seminal piece of comic artwork, and it was a parody piece that I bought at a Comicon where they'd put Sonic the Hedgehog at the starting line between Superman and the Flash, and I had it framed. And that got absolutely smashed to pieces by me throwing the Quest controller out my hand. And I just thought, that's such a heckle, isn't it? Like for a VR headset to be like, take that, platforming!
So you're quite into the futuristic gaming these days.
The VR.
Bec, yes. Do you like VR, Keza? Are you into it?
I'm like unconvinced on VR. I love Beat Saber loads.
Yeah.
Because it's basically Guitar Hero but with your body. A lot of the other VR stuff I play just makes me feel a bit queasy.
Yeah.
I got one of the roller coaster games, immediately thought I was going to vomit. I got all the Star Wars games and was fine until there's a bit where you climb a ladder and then everything moves around you. And that destroyed me. After that, I was like, nah, I'm not cut out to be a Jedi. Not with all this ladder climbing.
We will always struggle. It's the choice to keep fighting that makes us who we are.
I played Tetris in VR, which was a transcendental experience. It's very good.
Yeah.
But then,
yes, I've got that.
It's very, very, very good. Quite a lot like being on drugs is the thing. So, you have to be alone, I would say, when Tetris Effect is in VR. It's really the extreme Tetris.
It makes me really anxious. It's got all these lovely things like whales and stuff around it, but it gets really fast. And
it does.
It's like playing normal Tetris, but you're inside, so the anxiety level is far higher than you expect.
See,
I imagine it's like being on a bad drug trip
it does that. The first time I played Tetris
imagine.
Effect, I put the headset on, the VR headset on, and then I basically played through the whole game without stopping because I just something about it and it was like 2 hours worth of like straight, very intense Tetris. I took it off and felt forever changed.
Oh,
it was very weird. The other weird VR thing that happened to me was they did the Resident Evil games, those very scary zombie, quite frightening.
Yeah,
they did Resident Evil 7 in VR. And it's an intense game anyway. And, in this game, it's one of those ones where it's really horror. Like, you get sort of tied to a chair and beheaded in VR. And so I had to go see this game, a preview, and I was very, very pregnant. And I walked into the room, and everyone in there just looked at me and went, "Yeah, you shouldn't play this. We're not gonna let you play this." So I had to watch somebody else play it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Because they were so afraid that I would spontaneously have a baby from fear.
What a selling point that would have been, though.
I know, right? I really feel
Imagine if that had gone onto the reviews on the back of the
yeah
of the back of the what? I was going to say on the back of the disc. How old am I?
They should bring that in as a recommendation because when lots of people are pregnant and the baby won't kind of come, they say eat curry or have sex, and then they should add
VR
to that.
Horror game,
play Resident Evil.
Resi 7.
On the
VR.
Yeah. I like the fact that you were about to pass a human through an orifice in your body and they thought you would be scared by Resident Evil.
I know, right?
Oh, no, there might be blood and stuff.
Seen.
That might scare you. They should do it the other way around. They should make a VR
death.
game where you have to give birth so that the sorts of people who make Resident Evil games can truly appreciate the horror.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think they should make a game for men where you have to shit a watermelon, a VR game where that's the objective.
VR would have to become quite advanced to get the true experience.
My Oculus Quest up to Scotland where my in-laws live because I thought my niece would really enjoy playing with it. She's like 8 years old. And I thought, this will be great. I thought, I'll put her on Richie's Plank Adventure, I think it's called, which is like all it is that you go in a lift, the lift doors open, you're at the top of a building, there's a plank leading out, and then you walk along to the end of the plank, right? That's it. But it's like, it's freaky because you're like, it feels like I'm really high, but I'm not. And I forgot that when I first played it, it was terrifying and it does mess with your head. I just forgot that. So I put her on it and then she had a panic attack and cried.
Oh.
And then we managed to talk her into saying, it's okay, it's you can hold our hands. She did that kid thing where she was like, I don't want to do it, but I want to do it, and I'll be angry if I don't do it, but also I don't want to do it.
I need to do it for my personal development, but I really, really don't want to.
I was like, you should jump. Don't get the kid to jump, because when you jump, you fall. And then, spoiler alert for anyone listening is, when you fall, you briefly, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, you briefly pass through the ground and everything goes white, which is very existential. Like you feel like you've actually died. And, she's I had a lot of guilt.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got that with Mario
Absolutely.
Kart.
Yeah, and then she said, is there a different game
that
where
won't
you don't
scar
go
me
on
for
the
life?
plank? And I thought she meant in the same in Richie's Plank Adventure, and there is actually one where you have like a little jetpack thing and you fly around the city on a jetpack. And I thought, oh, that'll be better. I said, yeah, do you want to fly around the city? She said, yeah, I want to fly. And I forgot again that to work the jetpack, you have to hold down the triggers. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. So she put on the headset, and I said, "Yeah, you just jump off and you fly around in your jetpack." And she just fell off a building. Had another panic attack. So
I feel like there's a pattern emerging here.
I know you've got this new series coming out. I don't know if you're cut out for kids' television, to be honest. But if I'm going to totally honest, like what, episode 1 today, we're going to draw a plane crash. Like what? I don't know if this
deepest
is for
fears.
you. Yeah. Let's draw a picture of a monster
I've got
and put
all
it under
these
the
toilet
bed.
rolls. I want you to create what you think happens after death.
I think VR is a bit like those stories about when cinema first happened and people went to the cinema and saw like a video of a train coming and everyone ran screaming away from the screen because the train. It's like that.
Yeah.
VR, the first few times you're in VR, that's kind of the problem with it as well, though, because if the first few times you put on that headset and you go deep water diving or whatever, and then it feels so intense and exciting, and then the 4th or 5th time you're like, seen it.
Just a bit nauseous now. Yeah, piss off. Yeah. It's no good.
Ellie, what's your lockdown game been?
What's my lockdown game? Thank you for asking,
Yeah.
Keza. I'm surprised because I think you know what it is and you're bored of me talking about it. I've been playing, most recently, my lockdown game has been Heyday. Are you familiar with Heyday, Bec?
No, is it like Farmville?
It's literally the same, but with different words on the title page,
no.
basically.
I was hoping I was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
No, Ellie's like OG Farmville.
Listen, man,
Crew.
I'm back in, mate.
Yeah.
I'm back in deep. So I got out. This is the thing. I played Farmville back in the day, and I wrote an article about it for the website I used to work for, Eurogamer. And then just a few weeks ago, they announced that Farmville was dead. Right, they're officially killing off because Flash is dead and all of that. And the website asked me to come back and write an obituary about it. So I did that, and I dedicated it to the people who were in my Farmville Facebook group. Because this is what I'm saying. This is how deep it was. And I said this in the article, but we were in so deep. We had this group where we would go on there to swap items and stuff and look at each other's farms and stuff. It was like being in a gulag, but on Facebook. So I wrote this and I dedicated it to them. And then one of the old comrades from the gulag wrote on my Facebook page, "Oh, I don't play Farmville anymore. Yeah, I play Heyday now." And I was like, "Oh, what's Heyday?" "Oh no!" Cut to 3 weeks later. I'm setting alarms for 3:30 a.m. so I can harvest my cotton. That's where we are. Don't get involved, Bec. It will ruin your life. Honestly, it's a hell of a drug. You're not into it, Keza. Were you never into Farmville?
No, because I loved Harvest Moon,
Right.
which was
Strong game,
a proper game.
What the fuck are you talking about? Why is it proper? Why is it better than Heyday?
You could play it for 6 hours continuously, whereas Farmville would like stop you playing, wouldn't it? Because it'd be like, oh, you got to wait now. You got to wait 50 minutes for this to happen. You got to wait till tomorrow until your crops are ready.
If you're not willing to invest in diamonds, then yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
So like I found Farmville cut me off.
Right.
Like I would have been into Farmville, but it kept cutting me off by saying like, oh, you got to wait now, and I'm very impatient. So Harvest Moon is a Japanese farming game where it's very cute. They've got very, very cute looking cows. Like you could marry anyone in the village. Actually, really did raise some issues of consent thinking about it now.
I was going to say,
I did kind of learn. I did kind of learn from that game that all you have to do is give someone an egg every day for a year, and then they'll be your wife.
The thing is, Heyday has taken over my life. It is quite bad. Like Pete now walks into him and goes, "Are you farming again? Are you still farming?" It's ruining my marriage. Have you ever been addicted to a game like that, Bec?
Yeah, absolutely. I got addicted to, I think it was called Bird Life. And it was one of those sort of Bejeweled type, a Candy Crush style game. But each time you pass enough levels, you got a little bird, like a cute little fat budgie. And I collected, and then you could like upgrade their cages and everything. And it got to a point where I was so addicted to it that I had to stop. But I couldn't stand the idea of losing all my birds. So I found someone on Twitter to take my account for me so that they would look after the birds.
You had the birds adopted.
I should have done that with all my Neopets. They've just been languishing.
What did you do? Them just drown them in a sack?
No, they're all languishing online. My Neopets, unclaimed.
Oh, with it, they're
for 20
withered
years
away by now. God, that's horrific, Keza. You could put that in your kids' craft show.
all those
Draw a Neopet after 20 years of neglect.
Think of all the Nintendogs. Think of them
the
waiting for
Nintendogs.
walkies for 10 years now.
Nintendog just isn't for Christmas, 98.
Nintendogs, do you remember in Nintendogs, which was on the DS, I think,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it was on the
on
Nintendo DS, yeah.
If you didn't look after your puppy, it got fleas.
It did.
It was dark,
It
man.
didn't die, but it did get fleas and have to roll around in its own poop, which was...
Death would have been kinder.
I was obsessed with virtual pets. I had obviously there was the dino ones that were like knockoff Tamagotchis and stuff. I had one that was like, it was called Pixel Chicks, and it was like a little...
Was it another birds one? Why is birds becoming such a
LCD
theme of this
screen
podcast?
in front of a 3-dimensional plastic doll's house, like sort of palm-sized. And so the little LCD girls would look like they were going in and sitting down on the little plastic couch. It was actually genius. It's like the same way that they do like the 2-pack holograms these days. Like, it was really, really clever.
You can hang with Pixel Chicks and have a pixel day. Anything can happen. Now tell her what she'll say.
I have no idea what I did with it or where it is. It's probably back in Adelaide.
Visit other Pixel Chicks and hang out even more. But don't you dare ignore her or this chick is out the door.
I was obsessed with it, and now I've noticed that they've brought out a similar thing for this Christmas called Pixel Stars. But it's like a colour screen, so you don't get the backdrop of like the 3-dimensional doll's house or whatever. But it blew my mind.
She needs your help to play, so let's have a Pixel Day. New Pixel Chicks interactive game. A 2D girl in a 3D world, each sold separately.
Kids love screens. Let's put a screen on this Polly Pocket. That'll work.
Just put a screen on everything. It's
Yeah.
fine. That's how you get
You
to
say that, but my birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, and I literally just sent a link to my husband. It was targeted advertising on Instagram because that's what rules my life now. And it was for a phone case that has, in the phone case, like on the back of the phone, it's a Game Boy emulator, so you can play Super Mario Brothers and Tetris and stuff.
If you believe in
not on your
breaking the
phone,
law.
like in a screen in the case on the back of the phone.
That's illegal, Bec. and
illegal.
Not something we would condone.
No,
is it,
but
Keza?
what a good idea it would be if it were not, in fact, illegal.
Morally wrong.
To play it not on your phone, but on the back of your phone.
I certainly wouldn't buy my child a console called a Game Ori. That's $14.99 on Amazon, and it claims to have 400 games on it.
Yeah.
But you really, when you get to about 320, they start repeating. It just goes back to the beginning.
Much. I mean, I have never obviously experimented in any way with downloading or emulating old video games for fun. It's just never happened.
Have you filmed yourself having it off there? Seriously. I want to know now.
So, Bec, we've talked about the future of video games, which is obviously VR. It's not the future of video games.
No.
What was the first game that you remember playing?
I think might have been Magic Candle, which I think was an MS-DOS game. No, actually, it would have been Mixed Up Mother Goose.
Mixed Up
which
Mother
was
Goose?
on a massive floppy disk, 9-inch floppy, I believe.
Ooh.
It was where you had. It was very 8-bit, and you had to go around and match all the things from the nursery rhymes up with each other in this little land. So you walked around using the arrow buttons on the keyboard, and you had to collect like flowers to give them back to Mary quite contrary, so
Was
that she
it
could plant them.
edutainment?
Things like that.
Yeah, was it any good?
Do you know what? I was obsessed with it because it was able to read your computer's time in that it knew if it was PM or AM. So depending on what time of the day you played, it would either be daytime or nighttime.
Oh my god, it's
And-
got a
and
real-time
at the
day-night
beginning,
cycle.
you could type in, like, I think it was up to 7 letters or something to put your name in.
7 whole
And
letters.
so whenever the
Better than
little
3.
8-bit sort of text would come up and say, like, oh, hello, Bec. Can you help me? And I was like, it can see me and it knows what time of day it is. I just thought it was so magical. Couldn't believe it.
It's funny, we had at my school, my school only had those crap old BBC computers. And this was like in the year 2000, so really
gonna say,
very
last
outdated.
year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sake.
And after school club, we were all obsessed with like Granny's Garden and all these other weird
I remember
info
Granny's
games,
Garden, yeah. Lemonade
edutainment.
stand.
Yeah,
on the
all of
Commodore
those.
64.
We could have played so many more interesting things anywhere else, but because that was all that was there, the after school club, everybody was gathered round the BBC Micro with its weird games. All I remember about Granny's Garden is like apples. I want to say apples and a witch. It had a very cursed energy, that game.
Yeah, I don't fancy.
But I think all those ancient like info games, because you always remember them, but you don't remember what they were called because you were usually really young when you were playing them. So you end up like spending the whole of your adult life going, "Who remembers this particular game?" And then suddenly someone somewhere will find it for you. So they all have that weird cursed energy, like it was something only you played.
You had Nintendo at your after-school club, Becs, is that right?
Yeah, there was a Super Nintendo at our
That's
after-school
way
club.
better.
That was listen.
Oh boy,
That must
That
be an
was-
Australian. I've always imagined it would be some sort of paradise, Australia, because in this country we'd be lucky to have. Yeah, we're lucky to have a shoebox and shadow puppets. Basically, you had bloody Nintendo after school club. Unbelievable.
Well, the after-school club was at the school, but it was run by like a woman, and so she like brought that. So it's not like our school did not have Nintendos. Our school had Commodore 64s.
This was not officially sanctioned
after-school
Nintendo.
club
Oh,
had
right.
a Nintendo.
I thought you went to
And
school
I
at
remember
Eton or
my
something.
mum was so annoyed because we lived really close to our school, like walking distance, and towards the end of primary school I was obviously old enough to go home on my own and wait for my parents to come home from work, but I insisted that I wasn't responsible enough because there was a Super Nintendo at school. So I was like, no, I need to stay here till you can pick me up. So she had to pay for me to go to after school care for like at least another year longer than I needed to because I got to play Super Nintendo there. She should have just got me Super Nintendo. It would have been cheaper.
So you didn't have a console at home, Bec?
I didn't for a really long time. Our parents wouldn't get us one. And then we were obsessed with our auntie's Sega Master System 2. And eventually they, when all the Super Nintendos came out and PlayStation and everything and everything moved on, there's a shop in Australia called the Reject Shop, which is a bit like Poundland.
Is it literally called the
And,
Reject Shop?
It's called the Reject Shop. Like, that's its trademarked name.
That's Australians
Reject
for
Shop.
you. Just instead of pound, they're not even euphemising. So this is a shop full of shit.
This is this is
shit
where
shop,
all the
that's what they should have
rejects
called
go.
it.
Come and spend your money. And they had the Sega Master System 2 there for $40, which is like 20 quid.
Bec, I'm just gonna have to stop you there. They had the what Master System, please?
Sega. I think you'll
Yeah,
find
no,
it's called
no,
the
this
Sega.
is- see,
Sega.
My comedy partner Helen is Australian, and I'm trying quite hard not to be racist. I'm not saying this is specific, but it is specific to Australians. It's not just me being picky. When you turn the machine on, Bec, it actually goes Sega. It doesn't go Sega. Like, how can you have got this so wrong, you people? What is wrong with you?
I think you'll find that is an American pronunciation of Sega.
Keza, back me up here. For
I
God,
do
for
think
goodness sake.
if the Japanese would say Sega. Therefore,
Right.
that's what it must be.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
Sega.
if you'd like to start that anecdote
Look,
again,
we're
please,
gonna-
Bec, with the correct pronunciation, please, and we will be doing
I
it again until
don't
you
know
get
what
it
you're
right.
talking about.
We'll be
We're
doing it
all
again
saying
until
the
you get it
exact
right.
same word in the exact same way. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing any different inflections. I'm like,
It's not the
this
Bob
is a Sega,
Seger
and you're like,
Master
yeah,
System.
it's
That's
it's
not what
pronounced
it is.
Sega. I'm like, yeah, no, Sega. Yeah, no, Sega.
Yeah.
It's not Swarfiga either. It's not Las Vegas. It's
Hey, do you want to know something that will really infuriate you? Is that in
Always.
South Australia, and I believe it's South Australia only, I don't say it anymore because it was teased out of me when I moved to Melbourne, but in South Australia they say Lego instead of Lego.
Lego.
Lego? Yeah.
You're just
Not
winding
even
us up
like-
now. That's
So,
horseshit.
so we've taken the A out of Sega. we've put it into Lego.
Oh my god.
Right, I take it back. Australia isn't a paradise, it's hell on earth. I'm never going there. They can't speak properly. It's full of poisonous snakes anyway. Don't want to go.
Big ass
Bollocks.
spiders.
Anyway, so do carry on with your
So
story about
in
the
the
Sega Master System or whatever it is you call it.
What was it? No, I'm thinking of the Saturn. The Saturn was the Genesis, wasn't it?
No, it was
That
the
an
Mega
actual
Drive.
different
Jesus
name.
wept. This is just ridiculous. The Mega, again, not Mega Drive. It wasn't the Sega
Right.
Mega
Oh,
Drive.
Mega. Because you don't say Mega Sega, do you? The Sega Drive. Sega.
Mega.
No one
The
says Sega.
Mega Drive. God.
Anyway, you picked up
Sega
a
Mega
Japanese
Drive.
a console that was not
pretend
made by
it's-
Nintendo at the reject shop, and then what happened?
Oh, yeah. My brother and I bought it because it was cheap enough that we could afford it with our pocket money. And that was our first console when everyone else was on there. I think PlayStation 2 had just come out. And
wow.
as everyone was playing Crash Bandicoot, Crash Team Racing, we were playing Echo the Dolphin and Alex
Yep.
Kidd. Or is it Eco the Dolphin? What am I feel so gaslit. I've no
I've
idea
got a
what to
soft spot for
believe
Echo.
anymore.
Too
The only thing
Echo
it
the
taught
Dolphin.
me is that if dolphins don't get enough air, they die. That was it. And you could kill stuff with sonar.
Can real dolphins
No
do
one-
that? I must know.
No one teaches you that in school, do they?
What we've learned from nature, from video games.
You
Always eat
eventually-
mushrooms, and,
Yeah, exactly.
and dolphins can kill with
And
sonar.
it's always safe to jump down a pipe. Absolutely. Did you ever sort of catch up then? Were you always a couple of consoles behind growing up?
Yeah, I think I've always been that way with technology in general. Like, in the same way that I was using when I moved to the UK, I got a Wii Classic, and by that stage, I think everyone was on the PS4. And then I basically went from a classic Wii to having an Oculus Quest. So I just bypassed everything, and I did that. Like I was listening to Walkmans well into the 2000s, and then I got an iPod. I never went near a Discman. I don't even know what a Discman is. Ask me what a Discman is.
Keza's never seen a CD. Don't ask her. She's very young.
I had to walk to school with my crap Discman. I just remember it jogging every time I moved my right leg and having to develop a weird gait where I tried just not to move the right side of my body so that it wouldn't interrupt my Kerrang compilation CDs.
People saw you walking around in circles. They're like, "Ah, she's listening to a Discman."
It's the Discman, that's what the problem is. I think staying behind a couple of consoles is a really good way to enjoy video games. It's cheaper. You already know what all the good ones are, so you don't end up like getting caught up in the hype cycle and buying something and then not enjoying it. I think it's a great way to enjoy games.
Don't patronise
Yeah.
her. Keza.
I genuinely do.
She knows you're just taking pity on her. She knows you're
Is
just
it
taking
bad
the piss.
when you don't feel patronised, but someone else points out you're being patronised? Or is that worse?
I didn't know I was patronising. I think that's worst of all.
It's like saying, "Oh no, I think it's good that you got a shit old car." No, I think it's good. But I know you two have something in common. You're a big Guitar Hero fan, aren't you, Bec?
I did, yeah. I to the point that I was in a share house where we had Guitar Hero, and that was what we all bonded over. And it was so addictive to the point that a lot of us didn't go to bed that I made a point of not buying a console with Guitar Hero on when I moved out of that share house because I knew that I would never see the light of day again.
Oh,
I literally had to hide in a cupboard to play that game.
Because I'm literally in a cupboard right now recording this, so we haven't come far.
I feel like a third wheel here, guys. Why don't you just get your guitars out and I'll...
I annoyed my housemates so much with the constant Guitar Hero that I had to go play it in the cupboard under the stairs. Because they were like, if we hear fucking Iron Man one more time, we're gonna murder you. The main soundtrack of all the Guitar Hero games was quite like American rock, they're quite predictable, really, quite American rock centric. And then the people who made it, they were a developer called Harmonix, who made the first Guitar Hero games, and they're extreme musos. Like they're all obsessed with music, and so all the bonus tracks were just the weirdest ass things, and like their own bands. They would put in loads of bonus tracks just by their own random bands that they had. So there's this whole generation of kids who grew up with Guitar Hero who just worship this random band that played three gigs in Boston once because they had a
Wow.
bonus track in Guitar Hero or from early internet flash animations.
Were you...
It's
weird
like
references.
most of the tracks that were on Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I was listening to, what is it? Da, 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 da. That one. That was on the Tony Hawk. And I remember hearing it the other day and I was like, I haven't heard this song in years. I haven't heard this song since the only place I ever heard it, which was Tony Hawk.
I recently downloaded the remasters. They brought the Tony Hawk skateboarding games back out.
Oh God, not the...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please,
Tony Hawk's
not Ride, though. Do you remember Ride? That had the
no.
plastic skateboard.
Oh my God, I'd forgotten about that. When they tried to
Yeah.
bring Tony Hawk back, and it was in the Guitar Hero era where everyone was trying to make plastic things
Yeah.
to sell you. Like Wii Fit had done really well, and everyone had 16 plastic guitars and drums in their house, and they made like a lame ass plastic skateboard, didn't they?
And it had no
For the Wii.
wheels. It
Yeah.
was so rubbish.
It was the stupidest thing.
I had to review it, and I remember I worked out that you could get... It was really hard as well. It didn't work properly.
No.
And you could get really high on the online leaderboard if rather than trying to ride the plastic skateboard, skateboard, you just held it over your head, sat on the floor, and just shook it really hard, like when you put your Fitbit on the dog. It just it really got the numbers up. It was good.
Tony Hawk Ride, rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
That's funny because that's actually how I skate.
Is it?
Just sit on the floor and
it's a different
wave
culture.
the border.
Different culture, Australia.
I downloaded those Tony Hawk remasters because I have a stepson who is nearly 15 and he skates. He took up skating during lockdown because it was the only thing he was like allowed to do that involved seeing other teenagers. So he has taken up skating now, and now he's one of those kids like you see in the 90s with the baggy trousers skating around the place, and it's very anachronistic. But I downloaded the Tony Hawk remasters thinking naively, he'll like this, he likes skating now, this will be cool, not realising that the most embarrassing thing that could possibly happen is your stepmom going, I downloaded this cool skateboarding game for you because you like skateboarding.
Oh.
So it didn't go down all that well with him. I had a great night playing it.
It's like, you might as well ask
listening...
if he wants to talk about the birds and the bees. It's
I know,
just
right?
Not,
imagine
not
sitting there
you,
listening to The Offspring playing a game that your stepmom played when she was a teenager. Like, very embarrassing for him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Those games still slap, though. They're great.
I interviewed him once. Have you ever met him? Nice man, dead behind the eyes.
Yeah, I think he might have hit his head too many times skateboarding.
When you met him, was he just sitting on the floor waving his skateboard above his head?
That's right, yeah. He was just hacking off all the wheels off of every skateboard, going, this is the future now. Who needs them? I don't need them anymore. So you've had sort of quite a varied sort of gaming history, Bec. What would you say? What for you was the golden age? Is it now with your futuristic VR nonsense, or was it? Do you miss the Sega?
I think one of the things that I remember most fondly was I used to play computer games with my dad and my brother. And that was what started off with Magic Candle, which was a sort of role-playing text-based game. It's loosely based on Lord of the Rings. And then I remember playing a game called Lost Eden. That was it, Lost Eden, which is where there was like a load of dinosaurs and stuff. It's a bit like Dinotopia, and like that was amazing. But I would end up, as soon as it got difficult, making my brother or my dad play, because if they died, then I wasn't, like, it's not my fault. And it's the same reason why watching Twitch, people on Twitch and YouTubers streaming and everything is so nice, because when someone else dies in the game, you don't have that attachment of like, oh, I failed. You're like, oh, I still get to experience all the highs of watching where this game goes, but without feeling responsible when it goes bad.
I never thought of that. Like, it takes the anxiety or the pressure out of playing games, because you still get to experience the game, but without that, oh no, I might die.
Yeah.
Never quite understood that appeal of Twitch. Now I get it.
I was going to say, I don't really get Twitch, to be honest. I don't. I feel it's a bit like, it reminds me of like, so I have this thing where I'm quite into food, right? I like to do a lot of cooking. One of my favourite things to do is to spend quite a long time like making a really nice meal, and then I'll sit down to eat it. And then while I'm eating it, I like to read a recipe book.
That is
something else I might cook in the future.
That is absurd.
Well, my husband says this is like, watching pornography while you're having sex. Which, some people I'm sure quite like that sort of thing. But I've never really understood that with Twitch, like, because for me, like, I might want to play a racing game or a tennis game, because those are things I can't do in real life. Equally, I can't murder someone. So, I quite like having that experience. But to watch someone else do it, I don't really get it. Do you get it, Keza?
As you know, I've never quite understood it. I do understand it from the perspective of a teenager who doesn't have all the games in the world.
Right.
And so you can just watch people play a billion more games than you actually have.
Yes.
Than you can purchase. And also, like, I know some teens who basically don't play games, they just watch other people play. And also, it's kind of like, it's almost like a boy band thing. Like, I know some teenage girls who have favourite streamers that they just are in love with, and they'll watch them play all the time.
I read a stat once that the majority of people who watch YouTube gaming videos have never played a video game.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
I honestly haven't made that up, but obviously I can't remember the source.
I would say that is a mix of, as you said, people not being able to afford to have all those games for whatever reason, or the reason that I have for liking watching people play, which is like the anxiety levels are a lot lower. There's a lot less responsibility and risk. But also, I think it's like, because you were talking about, it's like someone watching porn while having sex, or like reading a recipe book while eating, but it's not.
Equally weird.
You're not playing the game and watching someone stream it.
Right.
You're just watching someone do it. It's what it is it's more like watching Great British Bake Off or any cooking show. show or any sport. It's like watching football. I'm not playing the game. You're watching someone play the game. So I actually think that there's nothing, like, people are acting like it's this weird, I don't understand kids these days, but it's like we literally watch other people doing stuff all the time, and people are only weirded out because video games are relatively new on the scale of sports or cooking or whatever other reality stuff that we're watching. I mean, half the time we're watching people who don't even do anything.
I feel like she's right and we're wrong, Keza.
You've been schooled.
Yeah.
I've been schooled.
Yeah.
And it's pronounced Sega.
Well, there we go. I think we've been put in our place quite rightly.
I think so.
Where does one start, though? Say one was a 43-year-old woman, Bec. Where would one start with Twitch? What's a good gateway drug?
I've been really enjoying Zaffa Cakes, which is Bilal Zafar, who's on, who only just started streaming stuff. Arguably, that's because a lot of it's like a mix of sketch and gaming. It's probably more sketch than it is gaming. So he's kind of he's been playing Soccer Manager, but where he does all of the manager chats before and after the games, and then has like a whole sort of soap opera thing that's happening with all the players, and it's really, really silly and really dumb. A lot of improv and stuff, and he's just very, very funny. And obviously Limmy is fantastic as well, because you get that lovely surreal sense of humour mixed with, he likes to play a lorry driving game a lot, which is, it's more about watching his reactions while he drives a lorry than
good old
watching
Euro
the
Truck
game
Simulator
itself.
2.
Is that what it is?
It is a surprisingly extremely popular video game with middle-aged men. I'm not quite sure what that says about the world that we live in.
Probably best not to delve too deeply. Now, we've come to that time, haven't we, Keza?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry to spring this on you, Bec. Once again, we have another extra special guest to come into the studio. I'm going to skip the usual preamble and just go, is someone at the door?
Yeah, I'll just pop out and just get
Can you
them.
go get him?
Yeah.
That's great.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Ça va?
Ça va bien?
Entrez.
Grazie. Bonjour, Bec. Bonjour, je m'appelle Pierre Ubisoft.
I'll be translator for this.
Oui.
We have Pierre Ubisoft here from French publisher.
Yes, it's okay. I can actually speak English. There's been some complaints about how the voice is always the same. So
wow.
Yes, I've come from Paris all this way to see you, Bec Hill. And
wow.
I am obviously a multimillionaire game developer. And I have a budget of 400 million euros to spend on a new video game.
Why are you laughing, Kez? This incredibly rich, important person has just walked into the studio,
Pierre.
and you're showing no respect at all.
This is very serious.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ubisoft. Continue.
Thank you, Becky. That is the proper level of respect.
Thanks for taking control of the situation, Bec.
So, Bec
I'm a
Hill.
sucker for a Frenchman, so, you know.
Hang on, what's the French again? What is your jeu de video?
I'm so glad you're here, actually. I actually do have an idea for a video game that I really want to see get made, and it's very simple. It's a virtual reality game, and all it is that it connects with your collection of Kindle ebooks or whatever brand ebooks. It's a virtual reality game that connects to your ebook collection and then creates a very realistic beach or poolside scenario, and you just lie in the sun next to somewhere nice and hold up your book in front of you, and you just read a book. You just read a book next to a thing, but it just means that you don't have to leave your actual couch. Like, you know, when you read a book on the beach and you get all sand in your bits and everything and your nooks and crannies, and you're like, oh, this is uncomfortable and awkward. Well, it takes the fun part about reading on a beach, which is the book part. And then,
not the sun part.
And then you can do that, but without, you just lie on your couch, you're nice and comfortable, you're not going to get sunburnt.
Okay, I like this idea very much. I think it will be the theme for the next Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
okay.
That's a much chiller time than the usual stabby Assassin's Creed situation. Do you think it will hit the teen audience that Assassin's Creed is so popular with?
Absolument.
Excellent. Good.
Okay.
Well,
Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Pierre.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Thank you so much. I mean, that's really great that you came all the way from Paris for that.
But
I mean,
That was amazing.
fat.
Where's Ellie? She missed the whole
Hi
thing.
guys, hi. So I just saw Pierre Ubisoft.
Oh, yeah, Pierre came. I'm sorry,
I'm to get back on the Eurostar.
I'm afraid I wasn't very professional, Ellie. I'm afraid
what
his
happened?
accent kind of made me die a little bit.
Well, he heard
you
that
know.
he heard that certain people have been complaining that apparently a lot of the video game publishers who come here, a lot of their voices are the same.
It's true, yeah. I wasn't
So,
expecting it, to be honest. I wasn't expecting Pierre. It was such an experience to have him with us. We do have one last bit of nonsense for you, which is the quickfire round. Don't think about it. Just
Yeah.
go for it.
There's no
Okay.
prize, so don't get excited.
Sonic or Mario?
Sonic.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Yep, correct.
Final Fight or Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy.
Link or Lara?
Link.
Ooh.
Oh, we didn't even get into Zelda. Easy mode or hard mode?
Hard mode.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Ken or Ryu?
Ryu. I'm sorry, Ryu? You're going to give
What?
her a hard time about Sega, and you're going to say Ryu?
What are you talking about?
Ryu!
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Ryu!
How do you pronounce it then?
Ryu!
Bec, how do you pronounce? Well, let's not ask her. She doesn't know
I
nothing.
do say Ryu, actually.
It's not Ryu.
It's Ryu!
It's you!
It's you! You're getting more Scottish. You know that. It's you! See you, Ryu!
It's
See you!
You do the R. See you.
Chun-Li!
Listen, Blanca. Blanca, that's you.
Hadouken!
You got to get you
When,
over there.
in Scotland, Hadouken just means Hadou, you know.
I want to play. Never mind Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I want to play Street Fighter 2 Glasgow. They have
There's a
missed
lot,
the
a
trick
lot more
there.
glassing.
Oh, you get to play as Begbie. It'd be amazing.
I think you'll find it's Ryu.
One more. Sniper or shotgun?
Shotgun.
Yeah, baby.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Straight in
there
with
we
the bullets
go.
to the face.
Right. Well, we've established you're a very violent person who can pronounce neither the names of publishers or video game characters, apparently, Bec. But thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Really make the guests feel good about themselves.
That's
really
it.
do.
That's it.
Oh, come on. You're doing a show about video games. No one's coming on here feeling good about themselves.
Right, Bec, to finish the show, our producers decided, let's be honest, we did not come up with this, that it would be super cool and fun to say game over every time, but obviously that makes us want to die inside. So we're going to make the guests do it. Do you reckon you could give us a game over?
Yay.
Okay, in whatever style you like, with whatever preamble, if you want with it, could you please...
Whatever accent
Yeah,
may come to mind.
not whatever accent, Keza. There's a line.
Not
We all
the
know where
racist
it is.
ones.
We all know where the line is. However you would like, Bec Hill, if you could
Right.
please.
Game over.
Ooh,
That's a good one. I like that
was
one.
Strong.
That's a strong contender for top one.
Yeah, very, very, very macho. Thank you so much, Bec, and thank you everyone for listening.
Until next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. This has been Extra Life. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Extra Life Pod.
Extra Life with Ellie Gibson and Keza Macdonald. Produced by Joel Morris. Assistant producer Alex Hart. Music by Wayne Shepard. Extra Life is a Great Big Owl production.
We've had some complaints from the various video game executives featured on this show, and we'd like to just make absolutely clear that Ellie's voices do not represent the actual views of any of the corporations mentioned.
Oh, spoil sport.